What's up, everyone? As you know, Ramadan is upon us, and you know what that means. It's time to fast.
You ain't Muslim?
I ain't Muslim, so let's go walk and talk about it. Alright guys, so traditionally Muslims only fast from sunrise to sunset.
You ain't gonna do that?
I ain't gonna do that. What I am gonna do is a 72-hour fast consisting of only black coffee, only black tea, and
What happened?
only water. So guys, you're probably wondering, why am I doing this fast? Well, there are many benefits associated to this fast, but before I get to that, let me give you some tips. Number one is to stay hydrated. Yeah, drink lots of water. So those of you doing Ramadan, can't be me. Luckily, I make my own rules. Number two is prior to initiating your fast, try to go on a low carb diet because a lot of the benefits associated with the fast is with insulin, and carbs spike your insulin. Last but not least, the most important one of all is when you break the fast, you want to break it with sufficient amount of protein. Try not to go too high in carbs because there have been some cases of people dying of a heart attack when they overloaded on carbs. Okay, all right guys, so this is my third week on this Ramadan fast, but in reality what I'm doing is every weekend I'll be fasting from Friday 10 p.m. to Monday 10 p.m.
Hey, I got you a pizza, but I know you're fasting. Here you go. Hi, BMI, insecure Snorlax.
So let's get into the benefits and why I'm doing this for the duration of Ramadan. So the first benefit is that fasting is the best way to get lean and lose that body fat. You see, there's a difference between restricting your calories and actually not eating at all. When you're fasting, you're obviously going to be in that caloric deficit that you always hear about, right? But more important than that is that you'll be in a state of ketosis, which means that your body is primarily using fat for fuel. And fasting would be the fastest way to get into ketosis. Alright guys, so circling back to what I was talking about with being low carb, that's because you want to get into ketosis as fast as possible. And your body's primary source of energy is actually carbs because it's easily digested. And the insulin that gets spiked when you eat carbs actually tells your body to use that energy right away and the nutrients you get from it as well. So you want to run through all of the carbs that's stored up first before your body can actually get into ketosis. But with that being said, because of the lack of insulin, your body has a hard time actually holding on to electrolytes. And something like sodium is what we call essential, meaning you'll die without it. So I definitely recommend that you get yourself some salt packets just so that you can actually operate properly as a human. So essentially, fasting makes you more energy efficient and makes you more insulin sensitive. So those of you who are diabetic will definitely benefit from fasting.
A-E-I-O-U-N, sometimes Y. Hey, let's have some breakfast.
It's like 7 p.m.
Let's eat some all you can have.
I'm fasting, man.
You can't afford it.
Okay, that's not why.
Show me your bank account. Show me your bank account.
No, definitely not.
Hey, you broke.
So you're probably worried that you're gonna lose a bunch of muscle and strength during this fast, right? But that's definitely not the case. This is the second benefit of fasting, is that you actually maintain all that muscle and strength that you have. This is because in the context of fasting, when you're not eating at all, your body releases something called human growth hormone as an anti-starvation response. This prevents your body from actually breaking down that muscle and using it as energy. So your body's not dumb. It definitely wants to hold on to that muscle. Now, with that being said, I still recommend you to stay pretty active while you're fasting as a way to stimulate that muscle. I recommend maybe like going on some walks, doing some light to moderate exercise, just to tell your body to hold on to that muscle. Now, another thing I want to mention is that potassium actually helps with muscle mass and muscle performance. So going back to what I was talking about, is these electrolytes are very essential. You need it. Now, from my experience, I actually saw an increase in strength every time I fasted like this. So on the third day, I would actually work out completely fasted, and I've added a rep to all my sets every week. So I'd even go as far to say if you're bulking and you happen to add on some unwanted fat, you can definitely shave it off with this fast while maintaining all that muscle and strength that you gained.
Hey, I got you a 0-calorie food.
What is it?
It's air.
So the third benefit to fasting is that you'll be more productive. You know, guys, like, I like to eat when I'm bored. I like to eat when there's nothing to do, right? But even if I do have like an assignment to do or I have to study, I tend to think about food still. I tend to think about when am I gonna have lunch? When am I gonna have dinner? What am I gonna have, right? So it definitely gets in the way. But I will say, if you have the restraint to not eat food, then you definitely have the discipline to do something productive. You know, the first time I actually experimented with the 72-hour fast, I was working 2 jobs at the time. And honestly, that 72 hours felt like nothing just because I was completely occupied. So I think fasting and productivity goes hand in hand. You want to be productive so that you keep your mind off food, and actually keeping your mind off food, you know, that's one less thing for you to worry about and you'll actually do more work.
Let me go back to my room real quick.
Every layer while you...
Hey! Why are you watching pork?
Okay, look.
And where your chair at? Where your chair at?
This is your room.
Oh, right.
I will admit, sometimes I do find myself going on Instagram, going on YouTube, watching a bunch of food videos just to fill that void that I'm missing out on, right? But that's because I gave myself permission not to do anything. So if you have something to do, you'll definitely get it done on this fast.
I have about 20, well, more than
Why didn't you get anything?
because
It's Ramadan, bro.
And why are you drinking coffee?
I ain't Muslim.
Oh, she.
The fourth and final benefit that I'm going to talk about is something called autophagy, which is your body's natural recycling process. During this process, your body's going to find anything like bacteria, damaged or dysfunctional cells, and use it as energy. I would even call this like a true detox of your body. So if you have like acne issues or anything like that, definitely try it out if nothing else worked before. After all, your skin is a result of your diet. Now, another thing that comes with autophagy is that it will strengthen your white blood cells. And as a result, you'll be better immune to things. You'll have a better immune system. Actually, there's one more benefit I want to talk about. See, I can keep going all day. And that's a boost in testosterone. So there have been pretty compelling studies that have shown after a multiple day fast, people's testosterone have increased way past baseline. You can think of it like working out. When you work out, you break down that muscle, but muscle growth actually occurs during recovery. So remember when I said the most important thing of a fast is breaking it with protein? Well, yeah, during the multiple day fast, your testosterone declines, but after days of refeeding with sufficient amount of protein, your testosterone actually boosts way past baseline. And those who have died from eating too much carbs that I was talking about, they didn't actually fast. They were basically starving for weeks and months. And from my experience, after fasting, it really doesn't take that much food to keep you satiated. Alright guys, so before I end the video, I just want to talk about hunger. So the intuitive understanding of hunger is that the longer you go without food, the hungrier you get, right? But that's not the case. You see, every time you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, your body releases something called ghrelin, which makes you hungry. So the first 2 days are definitely going to be the hardest because that's your body trying to readapt to your new frequency of eating. You might even feel pretty cold. That's because your body doesn't have any food to digest. However, on the last day though, you'll wake up with that mental clarity. You'll feel great. You won't even feel hungry. I'd even go as far to say, I feel like going another 24 hours. But after the 72 hours, I feel pretty excited that I can eat. So I eat. And before any of you guys challenge me on the science or whatever, just know that you're always going to find conflicting evidence out there. I don't have time to read all that. I assume you don't have time to read all that. You know, what's important is that you experiment for yourself and you figure out what works. You know, these 72-hour fasts are getting too easy for me. If you want to see me do a 4 to 5 day fast, I'll definitely take you along with it. I'll make some tweaks though, because I make my own rules, but I'll explain why I've made those changes in those videos. And yeah, I definitely encourage you guys to do this, because with just a little bit of discipline, you can say that you did something hard. And yeah, stay tuned.